Okay. See, in the field of biology, we use several aspects of statistics. So, for biology people, biostatistics is one of the important subjects. And out of so many tests, there is one important analysis aspect that is in abbreviated form called as ANOVA. Its full form is analysis of variance. Through this presentation, I am going to explain the single factor ANOVA, that is, a single parameter will be considered in case of single factor. And this particular test, ANOVA, is a parametric test. See, parametric tests are those tests which are dependent on certain parameters like arithmetic mean values or standard deviation or standard error. These important values of central tendency and dispersion have to be known to the individual. So, for doing such analysis, where these values are required, we call such analysis as parametric test. Uh, this student T test or F test or Z test or this analysis of variance are parametric tests, because in all these cases we need average values and values like standard deviation or standard error. The other kind of test is called as non-parametric test, in which these values like mean and standard deviation values are not required. Chi-square test, Kruskal-Wallis test, or Mann-Whitney test, or Spearman's correlation coefficient test are non-parametric tests, because all these tests are based on uh, the certain values which are obtained by following certain hypotheses. Like in case of chi-square test, we need expected values, and such values are obtained based on some hypothesis. Or in other kind of tests, the quantitative values are actually ranked. So in their case, mean values or other kinds of values are not actually calculated. So generally, this test is used to see the difference among the mean values, that is more than two mean values, and this test can be one way or two way, but presently I'm going to discuss only one way ANOVA, which is also referred as single factor ANOVA. And in case of one way, the difference is actually observed among the mean values coming from similar conditions, whereas in case of two-way ANOVA, differences are seen among the means of two different phenomena. Now, before I explain the different steps of ANOVA, let us see a specific case, and based on this, we shall be able to go through its so many steps. See, suppose you have collected data from three different areas, and that is why here, or you have analyzed three different populations, and the values are represented in the form of sample 1, sample 2, and sample 3. That is, sample 1 that indicates that all these values which are noted here, like x1, x2, x3, these are variables coming under sample 1. So it means it is one population from which this sample has been obtained, or you can say uh, a specific experiment is done, and then in that experiment or those experiments, these values are actually obtained. So x1, x2, x3, x4, x5 are the different variables of sample 1. Sample 2 is a different experiment or a different source of data. So here only four variables are there, from x6 to x9. Then you have third sample, in which again 5 variables are there. So it means you have collected data from 3 different experiments or from 3 different areas during 3 different conditions. So you want to know whether the mean values of these samples they differ significantly from each other or not. So for this purpose, we shall be doing analysis, and that I will be taking up. Now, since there are 5 variables in sample 1, so it is being indicated as n is equal to 5. And in case of sample 2, this n is equal to 4, and in sample 3, n is equal to 5. So total means number of variables in this case is 14. So capital N that indicates actually the total number of variables, and small n that indicates the number of variables of a specific group or column. Then you can also obtain total values of individual samples or individual columns. And if you know the total of a specific column, and then you divide it by the number of variables of this group, then you can know the average value. Okay, so that way manually you can find out the average values of these 3 samples. Now if you take the total of all these variables starting from x1 to x14, if you add up the values of these 14 variables, then that will give you the grand total. So these things you should know, that there will be total number of variables, that is how many individuals or individual cases have been considered, and that comes 14 in the present case. And the grand total means the total of all these variables. Then the next step will be, we are going to see that what will be the steps which we will actually employ to do it manually, to do this particular test manually. The first endeavor will be finding correction term. Correction term will be the value which will be obtained by doing GT square, grand total. Whatever grand total we obtain, that value will be squared, and the product will be divided by capital N, that is total number of variables. So this way correction term will be calculated, and then the next step will be to calculate the SST, that is total sum of a square. And for doing this, every variable will be squared. Means if x1 value is there, that value will be squared, plus x2 it will be squared, plus x3 this value will be squared. So this way you will go on up to x14. And so what I want to tell you, that every value will be squared and will be added with each other. So whatever product will be obtained from that, the correction term value will be subtracted. So when you will do this, you will get the SST value. In the third step, SSB is required. So for calculating SSB, what we do, that the total, say in this case, here we obtain the total of a specific column or a specific group. So this value, total value will be squared, and it will be divided by number of variables of this group. So 5 variables are there. Likewise, what would be the total, whatever will be the total of this column 2 or sample 2, that value will be squared and will be divided by number of variables considered in this column, so 4. And that way, and these values will be added, means the value obtained in this case plus second one plus third one minus correction term. So when you will subtract the correction term value from the total of all these columns, their squares, and divided by the number of cases, then you will get SSB, that is sum of a square between the samples. And these are 3 major steps. After that, what you will do, you will calculate SSW, that is sum of square within the samples, and this can be obtained just by subtracting this SSB or um, taking this SST minus SSB. So if you subtract SSB from the SST, this SSW will be obtained. Then we need degree of freedoms for SSB and also for SSW. For SSB, the degree of freedom will be column minus 1, and for SSW, this will be obtained by taking capital N minus C, that is total number of variables minus number of columns. And the degree of freedom for SST will be capital N minus 1, that is total number of variables minus 1. That will give you the degree of freedom for SST. After that, you can calculate MSB, which is obtained by dividing the SSB value by its degree of freedom. Likewise, MSW, this can be obtained by dividing SSW by its degree of freedom. And final value will be F value, and this F value will be obtained by dividing MSB by MSW. So in the next slide, you can see here that this table is shown. Actually, when you will do this entire thing with the help of a computer program or adopting some programming, then you will simply do this analysis, single factor analysis you will do, and you will get only this table only. So what is shown in this table that I just told you, that is source of variation, that is sum of square between the sample is shown here. SSB stands for sum of square between the sample. Then source of variation will be sum of square within the sample, and also total SST I just told you, which is actually obtained, which can be obtained by SSB plus SSW. So SSB is shown here, SST is shown here. Then degree of freedom I just told you, column minus 1 will be degree of freedom for SSB. Capital N minus C will be degree of freedom for SSW, and N minus 1 will be degree of freedom for SST. Again, MSB will be obtained by dividing SSB by its degree of freedom, and MSW by dividing SSW by its degree of freedom. F value, which is actually the main value required for this analysis, that will be obtained by dividing this MSB by MSW. And then we can see the table value, and that table value at 5% level or 1% level will be given in a separate table, and we will see whether the calculated value, that is F value, is less than the table value. If it is less than the table value, we will accept the null hypothesis, that that is probability will be more than 5%. And when we will find that the calculated value will be more than the critical value or table value, then we will reject the hypothesis. In that case, the probability will be less than 5%. When I say null hypothesis, it means initially itself we deduce or we hypothesize that if it means there is no difference among the mean values or mean values of different samples. So in the initial step itself, we actually decide that what is null hypothesis, and the null hypothesis will be no difference exists among the mean values of these three samples. And the alternate hypothesis would be that significant difference exists among the mean values. So when we find that the calculated F value is less than the table value, then we accept the null hypothesis. It means we say that the probability of occurrence of this event is more than 5%. It means the mean values do not differ significantly from each other. After knowing this, let me show you that this is the table, F table at 5% level. Here on the upper side, 1, 2, 3, 4, these are the values, that is degree of freedom for SSB. And then on the left side in this column, You can see again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like this values are there, and this is degree of freedom for SSW. So suppose there is a degree of freedom like three columns are there, so 2, and if at 2 and 11 we want to see the value, so that comes 3.98. So 3.98 will be the critical value. It means here in this table the critical value will be 3.98 if degree of freedom is 2 and 11. So with the help of this table we can get the F critical value. We can understand this entire aspect by considering a particular case. Here in this case I am showing the following table shows the size in centimeter of particular fish species collected from three different ponds. By applying appropriate statistical test, find out that the average size of fishes of these three ponds do not differ significantly. What is shown here that a particular species of fish uh, uh, has been collected from three different ponds: pond 1, pond 2 and pond 3. These are three different ponds located in different areas. From these three ponds, a specific means a species of fishes were actually collected, and their size is given. So what is our purpose? Our purpose is that whether fishes coming from three different ponds, they differ in their size. So our null hypothesis will be C. HO stands for the null hypothesis. So initially itself we hypothesize that there is no difference in the mean size of the fishes collected from the three different ponds. Whereas the alternate hypothesis would be that there is significant difference. So what we do in the first step, as I told you, we will be obtaining the correction term, and the correction term will be obtained by doing gt square divided by capital N. So all these variables have been actually added with each other, and the gt, that is grand total, that comes 66, and the number of variables that has come 14. So 66 into 66 divided by 14, this value comes 311.4. So you have got correction term value. Next will be SST, and in SST every value gets squared, that is 4, it is being squared, that is 16. Then the second value 3, it is being squared, it comes 9. Likewise every value gets squared, and finally from the last one means minus 311, that is correction term value, will be subtracted. So you got 34.86. This becomes the SST value. Third step will be to calculate SSB, and in case of SSB, the total of every column. So when you will do the total of this column, it will come 20. And since 5 variables are there, so 20 into 20 divided by 5. Plus when you will do the sum of the fishes collected from pond 2, it will come 16. So 16 into 16 divided by 4. Likewise, when you will do the total of these 5 fishes collected from pond 3, it will come 30 into 30 and divided by 5. So this comes 311 point, I'm sorry, from this 311.4 will be subtracted because this is correction term. So you get this value 12.86. And lastly, you have to obtain SSW, which is obtained by subtracting this SSB from SST, and this value comes 22. So now you are able to construct this table, and this table is referred as ANOVA table. This tells every story. See, you have written the SSB value here, then SSW value, then SST value, which you just obtained. Their degree of freedom will be 2, 11 and 13 because 3 columns are there. So 3 minus 1, then n minus c, that becomes 11, and the n minus 1, that becomes 13. Then MSW and MSB values are also here. MSB value is 6.43, that has been obtained by dividing 12.86 by 2. and then MSW value you have obtained by dividing 22 by 11, that comes 2. So F value, that is MSB divided by MSW, this comes 3.21, and the critical value, F critical value, is 3.98. So you have observed that the calculated value is less than the critical value, so you accept the hypothesis, null hypothesis, that is probability is more than 5%. So in the present case, we actually accept the null hypothesis, that is there is insignificant difference in the average size of the fishes collected from these three different ponds. So this is the way we actually solve such kind of questions manually. Doing it through a program is quite easy task, and you will see here exactly the same values have been put in the Excel sheet. So S1, S2, S3 are actually the sample 1, sample 2, sample 3. You can say that exactly those figures which are given in pond 1, pond 2 and pond 3 are depicted in this table. And then through Excel sheet, this single factor ANOVA has been performed. In this case, you can also get the total number of counts or small n values are there. Their total values are given. On that very basis, average values have been calculated. Variance values are also shown here. But in the ANOVA, exactly you are getting that value, the F value 3.21, which we obtained by doing it manually, and F critical value is also shown here. Probability is nearly 8%. It means we accept the null hypothesis. Now this is another example in which there are values given as control, means one specific experiment performed in normal condition is shown here. These are the variables which have been observed in the control condition. Then the individuals were given some treatment. Exactly 5 individuals have been given some kind of treatment and their values are shown here. Then treatment 2, where some different kind of treatment was there and these values are there. So total 4 columns are there, and here also treatment 3 is shown. Now their total values are given, total of all these columns, and the mean values are also there. That is, the mean value of control is 2, other values, average values are 4, 4 and 6. Then here the total number of variables are 20, grand total that is 80. And by adopting all those methods which I just explained, you can find out this single factor ANOVA table. And in this case, the calculated F value is 10.67, whereas the table value, although it is not shown here, but that value will definitely be less than the value which is obtained here, that is F value, and that is why the probability is 0.001. You can say it is less than 5%. So we actually reject the hypothesis, means we find that significant uh, difference exists among the mean values, that is 2, 4, 4 and 6. So definitely a significant difference exists, and we can say that these experiments, they have varying mean values. But there is one important aspect, and that is post hoc analysis, which is also referred as multiple comparison test. This post hoc, it means after this. It means this is always performed after the ANOVA analysis. And that too when we find that significant difference exists among the mean values. See, when we find that there is no significant difference among the mean, then this post hoc analysis is not performed. Rather, it is of no use because you find that all mean values are same. But when you find significant difference among the mean values, then we wish to know that which of the two mean values shows significant difference. And for this purpose, this multiple comparison that is performed. Now, exactly how many comparisons will be possible? That will depend upon the number of columns. So, if you have, suppose, 4 columns. So 4 means C into C minus 1 divided by 2, where C stands for number of columns. So if you have 4 columns, then 4 into 4 minus 1, that is 3. It means it will come 12. Divided by 2, that will be equal to 6. It means so 6 total comparisons will be possible. So this way we can know that how many comparisons. If only 3 columns are there, then 3 minus 2, that will be equal to 6, divided by 2 will be equal to 3. So it means 3 comparisons will be possible. So multiple comparison can be done among the different columns, and we could know that which of the two groups are actually different from each other. Now, manually, this can also be performed by using a formula, that is CD. CD stands for critical difference, that is equal to square root 2 into the value MSW, whatever MSW you have, divided by number of columns, that is C, into T value, that is student T test uh, table that is used for this purpose, and whatever value is given at 5% level at the degree of freedom SSW or MSW, that value will be written over here. T, that is a value taken from T table, and that value will be uh, taken from that table which shows at 5% level, and degree of freedom will be the degree of freedom of SSW, or you can say MSW. Now here you can see that if there is a degree of freedom, suppose 9, then at 5% level this value is 2.262. So this value will be used over there. So by this way we can be deciding this T value at 5% level for a specific MSW. In the given case where we observe that the mean values like 2, 4, 4, 6 uh, are there, so we find significant difference among these. This particular test, that is post hoc test, has been applied, and we know that since 4 columns are there, so 6 comparisons will be possible, and we have actually put the values here, that is square root 2 into MSW divided by C into T value at 5% level. In this case, all those values have been put here. MSW value is 1.25, 4 columns are there, and the value comes 2.12. So final value comes, this critical difference value is 1.675. So what we do, we write this CT value here 1.675, and we actually see the columns like column 1 and column 2. The mean values of these two columns are 2 and 4. So the difference between 2 and 4 is of 2, and this critical value is less than this 2. So what we find, when this real difference is actually more than the critical difference, then we say that significant difference really exists. So yes means yes, there is difference between 2 and 4. Likewise, between 1 and 3, there is a difference of 2, and see what I'm doing, I'm actually considering this first and second. So real difference is of 2. Here also between first and third, the difference is of 2, and the critical difference that has come 1.75, 1.675. So this real difference, that difference is more than the critical difference, so we accept that yes, difference exists. But when we see the difference between 1 and 4, the real difference is of 4. Here also this value is more than the critical difference. So we say that yes, significant difference exists between column 1 and column 4. But column 2 and 3, see here in this case, column 2 and 3 both have same mean value. So 4 minus 4 will be 0, and this value is less than the critical difference. So here in this case we say that there is no significant difference. So and again between 2 and 4 the difference is of 2, and yes, we can say that this value is more than the critical difference value. So we say that there is significant difference. By this way we can exactly know that which of the two comparisons show significant difference. Now through Excel sheet, how do we do this? In this case, again the control values are given, treatment 1 values are there, treatment 2, treatment 3, and then their average values are also given, and their SD value, that is standard deviation, standard error, these values are depicted. So what we do, we actually we can construct uh, these values, that is average values, and that is 2, 4, 4, and 6. These are actually the bar diagrams which indicate the mean values. And based on the standard deviation, we can also show the error bars also. But when we try to see that which of the two groups show significant difference, then we find that significant difference actually exists um, among the first as well as second, among the first and third, and among the first and the this fourth one. So all these three, they are actually different from the control. Means we are actually comparing from the control, and we find that yes, second, third, and even this fourth, second, third, and fourth, these three columns show significant difference from the control one. So all these things we can perform through Excel sheet, and this total analysis is based on the calculations like average, ESD, ESC, as well as ANOVA analysis. As I told you, through computer programs, we can adopt any one of these 5 methods which are suggested for post-hoc analysis, like Bonferroni test, Tukey's test, Newman-Squibble's test, Dunnett test, Fisher's least significant difference test. These are some of the programs which are inbuilt in single factor ANOVA analysis, and when significant difference exists among the mean values, then the program asks that which one of these tests you would like to apply. So you can go for any one of these and you will get the result. Generally, we biologists use Bonferroni or Tukey's test for such analysis, and these are very common, analysis tools which are available for multiple comparison tests. Here I have taken an example, one more example to explain the same thing. That is, I have noted the diastolic blood pressure of 4 different groups doing different, professions or business, like teachers, their diastolic blood pressure is shown, doctors, their diastolic blood pressure is shown here, 10 individuals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, only 8 individuals from these 4 different professions have been actually considered. So teachers, doctors, judges, and businessmen. From all these 4 different, professional groups, 8 individuals were randomly selected, and their diastolic blood pressure that is shown in this Excel sheet. So we want to know whether the diastolic blood pressure of these individuals coming from 4 different professions differ significantly or not. And for this single factor analysis, ANOVA can be performed. What we do exactly, that we go for data analysis. So when we click to data, see on the upper side data appears. When you will be clicking here, then you will get data analysis. On the right side above corner you can see data analysis that appears, and when you will click this data analysis, then this box will appear, and in this box there are so many parameters, statistical parameters which you can go through, but there is one that is ANOVA single factor. So you select this and click OK button. So you will find this again a separate box in which input range will be shown. So here is input range. It means you have to select this entire data. It will automatically come to this input range. And when you do this, so you are selecting this entire data, the quantitative portion is selected, the qualitative part will not be considered. So only this quantitative area will be selected. Whether number of variables vary from column means that will not be the situation. You will select the entire area where the data is being depicted, and then it will automatically come to the input range. And when you will click OK, then in the next step, you will get this table where this ANOVA single factor table will be appearing, and you can see this lower table. F value that comes 9.06. The table value is 2.94. This indicates that the calculated value is very much more than the critical value or table value. So we reject the hypothesis. That is, there exists significant difference among the mean values, that is mean diastolic blood pressure of the four different groups of people. So probability is quite less. It is very much less. It is nearly 0.0000234. So it is less than 0.05, and we in fact accept the alternate hypothesis, that is the four different groups of people doing varying profession, they show significant difference in their diastolic blood pressure. And based on this data, you can calculate the average values. Their standard error values can also be calculated through Excel sheet. And then exactly the same thing you can depict with the help of these bar diagrams, and the lines here on the upper side show the standard error bars, that is how much variation or standard error exists, uh, and we find that there is little difference. But in this case the post hoc analysis has not been done, otherwise you could have been aware that which of the two groups show significant difference. So we can say that these are the steps, and this is the utility of analysis of variance.